Why, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the kingdom. My name is Beth, or Queen of Karma, and I speak out about multi-level marketing schemes, scams, cults, and the coercive control tactics they use to manipulate us. I'm a survivor myself, so I speak from personal experience, and as someone who has been studying and speaking out about these topics since 2019. Around here, we serve real talk with a side of laughs. Call out the nonsense and keep the vibes high. Whether you're here for the tea, the healing, or just to hang, remember, in my court, what you give is what you get. So bring your best energy and get ready to discuss some advocacy. I am a consumer advocate, an anti-multi-level marketer, and YouTuber, making this content on here on this platform since October of 2019. I also write about these topics since mid-July on deheck.com, so be sure that you come and check out my work over here. I have written about a lot of very interesting topics I'm sure that you would be fascinated with. However, we're not here to talk about deheck.com. I am also currently writing a couple of books about the cults I've spoken out about as well, so you'll have to stay tuned for those in future. But, yesterday, I met with the lovely Julie Anderson. That's right, Julie Anderson, my fellow Canadian AntiMLM Advocate, to hang out and discuss how we are going to really get things moving and grooving here in our Canadian anti-multi-level marketing community. And today I want to discuss the first steps that we should be taking and kind of what I've put together so far. If you are in Canada, be sure to reach out and join the charge. If you're not in Canada, this information may still be relevant to you, or at least maybe it will inspire you to get things moving and grooving yourself wherever you are. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it, shall we?
Karma's a bitch. Queen of Karma.
Yes, let's get right into this. So, as I stated yesterday, I met with Julie Anderson, and we had a great little talk where we were discussing all of the things that we needed to discuss to kind of get the ball rolling here. And I'm sure you're like, Queen, what are you talking about? Well, I've been talking a lot over the last several years, and it's time that we start getting moving and grooving now that we have other Canadian anti-multi-level marketing advocates out here that are willing to join me with their communities and help out. So, I thought that today we would just kind of go through what I have. I'm going to offer you my presentation, if you will. Multi-level marketing, closing the gap and protecting Canadians from MLM harm. Only about 1% of people who join a multi-level marketing company earn a substantial or full-time income, and the vast majority make no profit at all. So what is multi-level marketing? According to the Competition Act, Section 55, a multi-level marketing plan means a plan for the supply of a product whereby a participant in the plan receives compensation for the supply of the product to another participant in the plan who, in turn, receives compensation for the supply of the same or another product to other participants in the plan. Sounds like a pyramid scheme, but okay. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Get a good rest. In this presentation, we are going to discuss how current law doesn't protect Canadians from MLM harm, how there's an ethics gap that leaves consumers vulnerable, and how we can provide better consumer protections. Right now, MLMs are completely legal. Multi-level marketing companies are legal if they comply with the Competition Act, specifically Sections 55 and 55.1. Pyramid selling is a criminal offense. Pyramid selling is defined as a scheme where compensation is given primarily for recruitment. And some of the issue here is the language. This is why people in MLMs will say things like, well, we have a product, so we're not a pyramid scheme. Canadians are being affected by multi-level marketing schemes. Canada doesn't publish an official government tally of MLM participants. Maybe we should change that. But the Direct Sellers Association of Canada, the DSA, which represents both MLM and single-level direct sales companies, reports that the Canadian direct selling industry involves roughly 1.2 to 1.3 million independent sellers each year. The turnover rate is very high in MLMs, and so is the failure rate. Industry data and income disclosures show most participants drop out within a year, and over 99% earn less than a living wage. In fact, over half of MLM participants drop out within the first 6 months. This industry is built so participants fail, not so they will be successful. The harms that MLMs do. There's financial harm. There's an overwhelming loss rate. Industry data and income disclosures show that over 99% of MLM participants earn less than they spend on fees, inventory, and marketing materials. Debt accumulation. Many Canadians take on credit card debt to buy starter kits, inventory, or attend company events with little to no return. And again, the high turnover. Most participants quit within a year, often with financial losses they can't recover. Psychological and social harm. False income expectations. Recruitment pitches often promise uncapped income or financial freedom, creating unrealistic hopes. Shame and self-blame. When earnings don't materialize, participants often blame themselves rather than the business model. And relationship strain. Recruiting friends and family can damage personal relationships. Social circles become sales targets. Product and value issues. Overpriced goods. Products are often far above market value to fund the commission structure. Inventory loading. Participants may be pressured to buy more stock than they can sell, despite Competition Act rules against it. Low retail demand. Many products are bought only by participants, not genuine customers. Targeting vulnerable groups. Women, newcomers, stay-at-home parents, people with disabilities are disproportionately targeted, especially during economic downturns or crises like COVID-19. Social isolation is exploited. MLMs present themselves as community or support networks to draw people in. MLM companies are commercial cults, and cults often use coercive control tactics and manipulation to target vulnerable groups. MLMs are no different. Legal MLMs must follow strict rules, such as no compensation for recruitment alone. But again, the wording here makes it seem like you can compensate for recruitment as long as it's not only compensating for recruitment. In other words, they seem to believe that having a product is like some kind of holy grail that they can do whatever they want and then pay for recruitment still. No mandatory purchases beyond a starter kit. The issue with this is that many MLM companies have starter kits that are thousands upon thousands of dollars, or even a few $100s. Most people can't really fork out $300 US right now for a starter kit. Not in this economy. No inventory loading allowed. Now, there's always ways around this where they kind of talk each other into buying more and more products. We have an overconsumption issue in capitalism in America right now anyway. So, can you really police that, And also must offer buyback guarantee for unsold inventory. Yes, they're supposed to be doing this here in Canada. However, in most cases, this is not really done. If it is done, it's in some refund policy in small print that I highly doubt every single person is reading, which is another issue, how not every person is reading all of the documents before they sign things in MLMs. Let's get into the Direct Selling Association. The Direct Sellers Association of Canada, DSA Canada, is the national trade association representing the country's direct selling industry, which includes both single-level and multi-level marketing companies. So a single level would just be your normal direct selling. Many of them here in Canada, as I've pointed out before, will pay hourly wage and commissions and have benefits. Founded in 1954, it positions itself as the recognized voice of the industry, promoting its members' interests, lobbying governments, and setting a voluntary code of ethics that member companies agree to follow each year. Its stated mission is to promote, serve, and protect member companies and their independent sellers, while ensuring high business ethics and consumer service. Membership is optional, and non-members are not bound by its code. So it's very similar to the DSA in the USA. The DSA's Code of Ethics. The companies that are legit in the direct selling industry have to commit to a code of ethics and business practices. This tends to be those single-level companies. A lot of companies do sales. Think of your normal storefront. They're still technically a uni-level direct sales company sort of thing if they're selling products and, you don't really recruit. But they're still selling products. They have to follow this code of ethics. And many of the companies follow this kind of code of ethics, even if they are not a part of the DSA. And I've pointed that out because I have worked in sales for several companies here in Canada. And it always floors me how it seems like we had to follow this, but MLMs don't. So you have to commit to a code of ethics and business practices that are based on the World Federation of Direct Selling Association standards, including respect for prospects. Sellers must stop soliciting a person if they've indicated they are no longer interested. No harassment or coercion. Repeated high-pressure contact is prohibited. Truthful representations. All claims about products, earnings, and opportunities must be accurate, never misleading. And privacy protection, sellers must comply with privacy laws and cannot misuse personal information, and they list off all the ways in which you would be misusing it. A cooling off period. Provincial direct selling laws, for example, Ontario's Consumer Protection Act, give consumers a 10-day right to cancel without penalty. And inventory protections. No inventory loading, and sellers can't be pressured to buy more than they can reasonably sell. There must also be a buyback policy. These ethics are only enforceable to those registered with the DSA in Canada or legit ethical businesses that choose to follow a similar code of ethics. However, if you're not attached to the DSA can't give you penalties for breaking these. Penalties for breaking these ethics include up to $200,000 fine and or 1 year prison on summary conviction, and unlimited fines and up to 5 years in prison on indictment. These are the companies that are registered with Canada's DSA. You might notice most of them are multi-level marketing companies. Mainly because legitimate businesses have their own code of ethics in sales that they follow that mimics the one that we just read through that the DSA claims to use. So based on this list, most of these are MLM companies. And I did a community tab post earlier showing you that out of the 6 top MLM companies in Canada, only half of them are with the DSA. You don't have to be. The legal gap. The Competition Act. The Competition Act allows MLMs to operate as long as they meet certain conditions. Example, compensation tied to product sales, buyback policies, no inventory loading. Recruitment-driven models. This means recruitment-driven models can still be legal if they technically comply, even if 99% of participants lose money. Reactive enforcement. Enforcement is reactive. Authorities step in after harm is done, and only if there's clear evidence of a pyramid scheme or fraud, and oftentimes it has to be a huge pyramid scheme or fraud with hundreds of millions of dollars, and oftentimes nothing is done to rectify the harm done to the consumer. There's also a voluntary oversight gap. So the Direct Sellers Association of Canada has the Code of Ethics, but membership is optional. So many MLMs in Canada aren't even members of the DSA. The code is self-policed. Complaints are handled internally with no legal force. And even members can engage in aggressive recruitment or misleading income claims without breaking the law. There's also a consumer protection gap. There's a large gap when it comes to protecting Canadian consumers. Provincial consumer laws, like the cooling off periods and the buybacks, are patchy and vary by province. In the US, that varies by the states. It's very similar there. There's no national rule against repeated solicitation after someone says no. There's the do not call list, but again, it's up to the people to decide if they're going to break that or not. And if you break it, not much really happens to you. Victims often don't know where to complain, or they give up because the process is slow and burdensome. So how do we close this gap? We need an outright prohibition. The outright prohibition of the MLM structure removes the recruitment-driven incentive that fuels persistent solicitation. We need to expand the definitions. Expanding the definition of prohibited conduct treats repeated recruitment or sales contact after a clear refusal as a deceptive or unlawful practice. And then we need to enforce penalties if they do these things, right? Enforcing penalties makes harassment-style recruitment or sales contact a criminal offense. That's what we should be doing, with fines and potential jail time. See how quickly people stop doing it. There needs to be a uniform standard. This standard should be applied to all companies, every single one. Not only those voluntarily associated with the DSA. This would ensure ethical practices in all business models. Also, not only in MLM, all sales, let's do it. We need more people to speak out. Continued advocacy and survivors telling their stories to the public will help prove the harm these MLMs companies cause Canadians. Sounds bad, but the more harm that we can bring to the government and say, look at all the harm that these things are doing to our Canadians, the more that they'll listen to us. So we need as many Canadians as possible who have been affected by these to contact us with their stories and help us in this advocacy. We need your support. Continue to support anti-multi-level marketing advocacy by joining the subreddit r/anti-MLM and by watching anti-MLM content and sharing it on social media to help spread the word we want to change Canada's laws. Time is now. Multi-level marketing in Canada is not a fringe issue. It's a widespread, high-turnover industry where the overwhelming majority of participants lose money. The current mix of legal carve-outs, voluntary codes, and patchwork enforcement leaves consumers, our Canadian consumers, exposed to financial loss, harassment, and deception. Very harmful. If we are serious about protecting Canadians, we must acknowledge the harm, close the ethics gap, and demand stronger, enforceable safeguards that put people before profit. For once and for all, please feel free to ask any questions to me about this presentation as we continue on, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for agreeing to listen to this. I appreciate you being here. Make sure that you like and subscribe. So I'm sure you're saying, that's great, Queen. That was a beautiful little presentation and very similar to all the other ones that you've done, like why MLM should be made illegal and etc. But why is this one special? Why are we here today? What is going on? Well, I'm glad you asked that. You see, we have something else that I'd like to go over. The Canadian Consumer Bill C-245, I believe that's the number based on what I could research, but that might change. An act to amend the Competition Act. Prohibition of Multi-Level Marketing Act. An act to amend the Competition Act to prohibit multi-level marketing plans and to provide consumer protections against recruitment-based commercial exploitation. This is it. This is the law. Preamble. In 2025, over 20 million Americans, including Canadians, participated in multi-level marketing MLM companies, indicating a significant presence of MLMs in the country. The global MLM market is substantial, with over 102.9 million independent sales representatives participating in MLM sales activities worldwide in 2023. This also means the harm these MLM companies cause to Canadians is substantial. According to the Competition Bureau, a multi-level marketing company is defined as a multi-level marketing plan promotes the supply of a product to participants in the plan. Participants earn compensation based on supplying products to other participants or customers. A legitimate multi-level marketing plan has 3 or more levels of participants. The Competition Bureau claims that a multi-level marketing plan is a legal business model for selling goods and services, and that pyramid selling, on the other hand, is illegal and constitutes a criminal offense in Canada. According to the Bureau, pyramid selling focuses on generating profits by recruiting others and not primarily from the sale of products. Thus, even when these schemes offer products, the products may have very little value or few incentives for their sale. It is a criminal offense to establish, operate, advertise, or promote a pyramid selling scheme. The Bureau lists several rules for operators and participants. They also claim if those in MLMs make a representation relating to compensation, such information must be fair, reasonable, and timely. They claim it is illegal for a MLM plan to do any of the following: offer compensation for recruitment, require purchases other than a startup kit sold at cost as a condition of participation, require participants to buy a large amount of inventory that cannot be resold or used within a reasonable amount of time, referred to as inventory loading, and failed to offer a buyback guarantee on reasonable commercial terms. These types of activities would be considered pyramid selling under Section 55.1 of the Competition Act. We seek to amend Section 55.1 of the Competition Act to state that multi-level marketing companies are pyramid selling. MLMs often do the things the Competition Bureau lists as pyramid selling because of their inability to follow the law. Multi-level marketing MLM schemes operate as harmful commercial cults in our society, exploiting vulnerable individuals through coercive recruitment tactics, deceptive income claims, and manipulative social control. MLM companies such as Herbalife, Vema, and Burn Lounge have been subject to legal action and enforcement for operating illegal pyramid schemes, resulting in multi-million-dollar fines and criminal charges. These business models disproportionately harm low-income individuals, foster financial ruin, and promote psychological manipulation resembling cultic control. Happy Tuesday, Violet. Good to see you. The Competition Bureau of Canada and international regulators have recognized the systemic risks posed by MLMs, urging stronger legal prohibitions to protect consumers. Therefore, this act prohibits MLMs in Canada and provides protections and remedies for participants harmed by such schemes. Part 1. Amendments to the Competition Act. 1. The Competition Act is amended by repealing Section 55. 2. The Act is amended by adding the following after Section 55. 55.11. Multi-level marketing plans are prohibited in Canada. 2. In this section, multi-level marketing plan means any plan or arrangement under which a participant receives compensation, commissions, bonuses, or other benefits primarily because of recruiting others into the plan regardless of whether a product or service is involved. Notice the change in the wording. 3. No person shall promote, operate, or participate in a multi-level marketing plan. 4. It is not a defense under this section that the plan includes the sale of products or services if the compensation structure is primarily recruitment-based. 5. The governor and council may make regulations to clarify definitions, enforcement procedures, and administrative mechanisms under this section. 3. Section 55.2 is added as follows. 55.2.1. Any commercial entity using a compensation or sales model resembling a multi-level marketing structure shall, prior to any recruitment or sales activity, provide each prospective participant with a written disclosure including A. The name and business address of the company. B. Names and titles of principal officers. No more hiring actors. C. A full and clear description of the compensation structure. Full and clear. D. A statement of average and median earnings for all participants during the past 3 years. E. The percentage of participants who earned less than they spent. F. The terms of any inventory or product buyback guarantee. And G. A disclaimer stating participation in this program does not guarantee income. Earnings may vary based on personal effort and market conditions. Number 2, 55.22. All participants shall have the right to conceal their contract and receive a refund for unsold inventory within 90 days of enrollment. Thank you, Delaware. 3. Companies must buy back all resaleable inventory from canceling participants at no less than 90% of the original purchase price. And 4. Failure to comply with this section constitutes a deceptive marketing practice under Section 52. Part 2, Enforcement and Remedies. Any person who violates Section 55.1 is guilty of an offense and liable: A. On summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $200,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year, or to both, or B. On conviction on indictment to a fine in the court's discretion, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years, or to both. 2. Any participant harmed by violations of Section 55.1 or 55.2 may bring a civil action for damages. A court may award A. Actual damages, B. Treble damages where intent to mislead is proven, or C. Reasonable legal costs and disbursements. Part 3. Transition and regulations. Within 6 months of the coming into force of this act, all existing multi-level marketing operations in Canada must cease recruitment activity and restructure compensation plans in compliance with this act. The governor and council may make regulations to A. Establish an oversight authority to enforce compliance. B. Provide public education about high control commercial groups, which I would be willing to help with. C. Maintain a national registry of complaints related to commercial coercion. That includes Scientology, I believe. Aren't they running a business? Part 4. Conclusion. In conclusion, the legislation addresses a systemic and widespread form of commercial coercion masquerading as entrepreneurship. Multi-level marketing schemes have left millions of Canadians in financial ruin, fractured relationships, and lured vulnerable populations, including newcomers, seniors, and single parents, into manipulative sales hierarchies under false pretenses of economic opportunity. The illusion of empowerment cannot excuse structural exploitation. By repealing Section 55 and prohibiting MLMs outright, Canada can protect consumers from modern commercial cults, uphold economic integrity, and send a global message. Manipulation disguised as marketing will no longer be tolerated in our country. China has made MLMs illegal. It's time we do the same. This act shall come into force on a day to be fixed by order of the Governor in Council. And that is Bill C-245, an act to amend the Competition Act, or you can call it the Prohibition of Multi-Level Marketing Act. Whichever you so choose. I'm not picky about the name. So we've got that put together. And the last thing, the very last thing, we're keeping it short, sweet, and to the point today. Do go and check out my other stream from earlier today where I spoke out about a scam. So go check that out. But I'll put the link in the chat. You can find your member of parliament on this very website right here. The link is in the chat. It's ourcommons.ca/members. Okay? What you do is you come here, you put your postal code in, and they'll look up who your members of parliament are, all right? For your area, your province, your specific area. You can write them all down, their contact information. It will give all that to you. And then we have a letter. We have a letter that you can send. Now, I also have a link in Canva, but here's the thing, okay? If we do the Canva link thing, you guys are going to have to remember to open a copy of it before you edit. Because if you're going to be putting your information on the document, I don't want you to dox yourself to anyone else that then clicks on the document. So right now, we're kind of still trying to figure out the best way to get this out so that you could change it and then just, edit the information like your name and your address on this first page. Then there's a place for you to sign your name and print it at the end. And then you don't even have to worry about the words to use to send to the MP. I have created the letter for you. It's a template that works for everyone. And so we're trying to figure out the best way to get it out. If you have any suggestions, please do hit me up. And if you want to help in any way, also do please hit me up. We are taking anyone that wants to help out. Please reach out to me. But yeah. So if you go to the website, you look up your MP, you get a hold of me and you go Queen, or even Julie. Julie also has this, by the way. So you can also get a hold of Julie and say, Julie, I want to write my MP. How do I write my MP? Can you send me the document? And Julie will send it to you. And if you need help looking up your MP and you don't mind giving us your postal code, then do it. But it is better, like I said, I'm trying to make it so that you don't have to give anyone your personal information in this process, but you can still write in and not have to do too much work, just copy and paste the letter if you want to. And that is what we have planned so far. That's kind of what we're starting off with. I think it is a really good start to the advocacy here in Canada. Something that we've all been kind of working towards, but I think it's time that we all get together and do an actual movement now. We have been planning. We've all been kind of doing our own things, but it's time we all come together and we really get this on the move, get this going. I feel like we have enough information right now. We can, take this to the government and say, listen to me, Parliament. We have something to say. But we are, of course, also looking for more survivor stories. So reach out to Julie, reach out to myself, and reach out to any other Canadian anti-MLM advocates out there. Again, get a hold of me at my email if you want to join in. If you're like, even if you have a small channel, you're like, I only have 200 subscribers. Oh, well, I started with 200 subscribers. Let's go. We all start somewhere. You can really help in this. It doesn't matter how many people are following you. You know, we will help you get you there as well. So please do reach out to us. It is time we get this moving. That is everything that I have. I am probably going to add some more information to this presentation before I ever go and give it anywhere. Like I said, it would be helpful if we had some examples of harm that is not just like mine and Julie's story. Me and Julie have a hell of a story, and they both involve Sensi, weirdly enough. But it's still like, you know, the more we have, the better. If anyone wants to volunteer to give us an example to include in this presentation, that would be friggin' amazing. And, you know, we'll keep you guys posted in future. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you, Violet. I appreciate you. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you, of course. So again, like, subscribe, share this out. Send it to anyone you know in Canada. And I hope that all of you have a fabulous, amazing rest of your evening. I probably won't bother you again tonight. Don't worry. That's all I have to say for today. It's kind of what I've been wanting to say for the last couple days. But, you know, my mouth is only really, really starting to feel better today. So here I am blabbing and blabbing away. But thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous rest of your evening. Again, please like and subscribe. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow. We'll be laughing at some scam. We'll either be doing Fiverr on passive. So see you then. I love all your faces. Bye.